Today's video is heavy on the nostalgia factor. We asked the whatoplay community about the games they grew up playing, and here are the games that shaped our childhood. Pokemon. It looks like most of us grew up with these pocket monsters. But just imagine, you're a kid who goes out on your own to catch and train creatures into super powerful beings, become famous, and become the best like no one ever was. Pokemon fed into every child's fantasy. It hasn't really changed much since, but it was addictive back then. Especially since we don't have guides or easily accessible lists of glitches and Easter eggs. The myths and rumors are all we had, and it was great. Then there's the multiplayer. Pokemon always released in 2 versions, and if you wanted to complete your Pokédex, trading with friends was the only way. Super Mario Bros. 1985 hashtag paved the way. And not just because of its iconic soundtrack. IGN once called it the greatest and most important game of all time. And one reason was that it was the first game that showed us different worlds. It wasn't a glorified digital board game. It let us escape into an underwater world or to a fire castle. And the enemies and the environment felt alive. Donkey Kong was the first platformer, but Super Mario was the game that changed the game. Now we have games like Hollow Knight, which we streamed on our Twitch channel. We go live every Friday, so follow us if you haven't yet. Let's not forget Mario Kart. It's not at all the most realistic racing game, but it's fun and exciting and anyone can play it. Legend of Zelda. Just like some of you, Link's Awakening was my first LOZ game, and some would say it awakened me to a new kind of game. When I discovered what I could do and the places I could go in this game, I was hooked. One of the greatest things about the Legend of Zelda games was the difficulty level. It can be challenging, especially in the boss levels, but never impossible. In Minish Cap, we had to figure out when and where the best times to go small. It changed Hyrule completely. Also, did you know that the Minish was supposed to be a thing in Breath of the Wild? Here's to hoping they get featured in sequel. Command and Conquer. Red Alert 2 was released more than 20 years ago. Feeling old yet? It was so good though, especially with the Yuri's Revenge expansion pass. It was my first RTS game, and the first game that made me feel drunk with power. The first game in the series was remastered back in 2020, although I'm not too sure about the graphics. But it's great that it's playable on current-gen computers. I just hope and pray that Red Alert 2 will have a remaster soon. Moving on to another franchise that got their much-deserved remakes and remasters, Resident Evil. This franchise is a cornerstone of the survival horror genre, especially the first 2. They may feel a bit restrictive now with their fixed camera angles, but you can't look past the mark they've made. Resident Evil gave us our first taste of the adrenaline high that comes from rationing supplies in the heat of combat. The level of patience you need so you don't waste shots or ink ribbons? Oof. And don't forget about those memorable and eventually memeable FMVs. Was it better that they opted for animated FMVs in the next few games? Tone-wise, sure. But not having to film that zombie car scene definitely saved Capcom money. Alright, that's it for today. It has been Rain from whatoplay.com, helping gamers find games.